This case takes us to North Webster, Indiana. In 1975, the little town of North Webster was known to be quiet, peaceful, and safe. It was a place where residents often kept their doors unlocked. Back then, parents would often give their children the freedom to go ride bikes up and down the traffic-free streets. North Webster was a community where everyone knew each other, and people spent hours hanging out on their front porches. But when Laurel Mitchell was murdered, the news of her death sent shockwaves throughout the small town, and residents were faced with the unsettling possibility that the killer could be someone they knew. The small lake community of North Webster had never before seen a crime like the 1975 murder of Laurel Jean Mitchell. Even today, with the case solved, the community still remembers the case. Hello, and welcome to Inside Crimes. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more crime cases. Laurel Jean Mitchell was born on the 24th of May, 1958 to Richard Dick Mitchell and Wilma Mae Mitchell in Whitley County, Indiana. At the time of Laurel's murder, Dick Mitchell was a well-known public figure in North Webster. He was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. On the other hand, Laurel's mother, Wilma Mitchell, operated the North Webster Food Pantry at Augsburger's for several years. Apart from Laurel, Dick and Wilmer had two more children named Bruce and Sarah, who were 18 and 12 respectively. Laurel and her siblings had a tight-knit bond despite the occasional siblings' rivalry. Laurel grew up to become a loved personality in North Webster. Her friendly nature and heartwarming smile won over the hearts of everyone she met. She often went out of her way to make other people around her happy and feel loved. Laurel had many talents, in which one of them was her love for singing. This made her join the local church choir. Her love for music did not stop there. She was a good dancer who brushed up her skills by taking dance lessons at a local studio. She found a sense of accomplishment in singing and dancing. By the age of 17, Laurel Mitchell was set to begin her senior year in Wawasee High School. Before the school year began, she decided to take up a job at the Cokesbury Inn, a small restaurant in Epworth Forest, located on the shores of Webster Lake. For her, taking up a job at the restaurant means having the opportunity to gather experience and add value to her life, while she makes a couple of extra bucks. On the 6th of August, 1975, the Mitchells' family started their day unaware that a tragedy awaits them by the end of the day. Laurel, Sarah, and a friend of Laurel who stays with them woke up to tackle their morning chores. Bruce, the oldest child and the only son, was not around at the time because he was already married and was serving in the Army in California. Dick and Wilmer got ready for work and bade their daughters goodbye as they headed out to their respective workplace. Later that afternoon, Laurel, who was on a night shift, also headed to work with plans of meeting up with her friends at Adventureland when her shift was over. Oftentimes when she works the night shift, either her mom or dad would pick her up after work. But on the 6th of August, 1975, since she had plans to meet up with her friends, she didn't see the need for her parents to come pick her up. Around 10 p.m., Laurel Mitchell began to wrap up her work for the day, and at exactly 10:15 p.m., she left her workplace and headed out to Adventureland, a once popular amusement park about half a mile away from the restaurant where she worked. On her way there, she passed by a classmate who waved at her as she walked by the entrance to the Epworth Forest, and that appeared to have been the last time Laurel was seen alive. She never made it to Adventureland. Neither her friends nor family knew she was missing or in danger. Her parents believed she was with her friends at Adventureland, when in reality, her friends for some reason had changed location and gone to the county fair that evening, thinking that Laurel had just gone home after work. The midnight curfew for the Mitchells family passed, and Laurel's family became worried because Laurel had not come back home. They waited through the night, checking the door to see if she would walk in, but Laurel never did. In the early hours of August 7th, 1975, at exactly 4:16 a.m., Dick and Wilma Mitchell called the police to report their daughter missing. Neighbors, friends, and the police started out for a search, but Laurel couldn't be found in all the areas they looked for her. However, few hours later, at around 10:30 a.m., a man named Glenn Dixon and his son, Hager Dixon, were about to start fishing in the Elkhart River near Diamond Lake Road Bridge in Noble County when they found a dead body floating in the water. The police were called to the crime scene, and the body was quickly identified to be Laurel Mitchell. The news of Laurel's death shattered her family and the whole community of North Webster, who saw Laurel as a kind, decent, and beautiful person. Laurel was described as smart, boisterous, and motherly, often doting on the neighborhood children. Due to her involvement in the local church choir group, dance classes, and other community events, she was a well-known face in the small town of North Webster. And this was why residents in North Webster were shocked. They wondered who could kill such a sweet girl who wouldn't hurt a fly. On the day Laurel's body was discovered, Dr. Peel Sankey from the Goshen General Hospital in Goshen, Elkhart County, Indiana, performed an autopsy on her. The cause of Laurel's death was determined to be drowning. She showed no obvious signs of trauma aside from several bruises on her hands and shoulder. She was said to have resisted her attacker, fighting for her life. When Laurel was discovered, she was fully clothed, however. The autopsy determined that she had been sexually assaulted. The police ruled the case to be homicide, and the search for Laurel's killer began. Indiana State Police, along with the Kosciuszko County Sheriff's Department, the Noble County Sheriff's Department, and the Noble County Coroner's Office opened an investigation into Mitchell's death. Investigators spent thousands of hours trying to solve her murder. They followed every lead. They interviewed neighbors who lived around the crime scene. A woman named Catherine Flynn, who lived at the area at the time of Laurel's murder, told the police that around 10 p.m. on the 6th of August, 1975, that she heard a loud car turn around next door. She said she heard voices say, "Let's get," or "Let's get her." Another resident with the name Frank Overmeyer told investigators he also heard a loud vehicle in the neighborhood, possibly an Oldsmobile. The police followed these leads and tried all they could, but the killer of Laurel could not be found. Over the next 5 decades, numerous detectives continued to work on her case. With no improved DNA technology in the 1970s, the Laurel Mitchell's case was gradually getting cold. After waiting for years to get answers, sadly, Dick and Wilmer Mitchell couldn't cheat nature as they passed away from natural causes at the age of 82 in 2012. However, despite the case growing colder by the day, Laurel's sister, Sarah Mitchell, never gave up hope of finding answers. Every year, she would appeal to the media to once again cover her sister's story and always maintain contact with Detective Kevin Smith, who was assigned to Laurel's case. During one of her chats with the detective, Sarah mentioned that a family friend had told her a small band from Delphi, Indiana called Celebrate the Sun, consisting of several boys and girls around the ages of 16 to 20, had played a show that evening at the Cokesbury Inn and had left around the same time Laurel was last seen alive. The family friend also mentioned seeing the same group at the fire station later that evening. He described seeing a woman having a panic attack and hyperventilating outside of the fire station. He said the woman was accompanied by a group of guys, all around the ages of 16 to 20, who were trying to calm her down. The detective then told Sarah that this tip had never been reported and felt it was worth investigating. Investigators then tracked down the members of the band. It was, however, discovered that they were a performing church group who were not from Delphi and had never stopped at the fire station that evening. The case went cold again, but in June 2013, a year after Laurel's parents died, Renee Sexton, a Florida woman who was 16 years old and living in Noble County in 1975, contacted the county sheriff's department to inform them that she had gone on a date with a man called John Wayne Leffman. And as he was driving her back home, he admitted his involvement in a crime that he committed with his friend Fred Bandy. John Wayne Leafman had told the woman details that were consistent with the police findings when Laurel's body was found, including the anatomical findings from the autopsy results. In 2014, Bill McDonald, who was a high school sophomore at the time of Laurel's murder, told police that he socialized with a man named Fred Bandy while in high school, and that Fred Bandy told him after Laurel Mitchell's murder that he had committed the crime and also provided details of the location where her body was found. In 2019, another man told the police that he and Bill McDonald had attended a high school party with Fred Bandy, John Wayne Leafman, and others when Mitchell's murder came up. Fred Bandy then stated that he and John Wayne Leafman committed the crime of killing Laurel Mitchell together. These multiple confessions were what the investigators needed to pursue the case vigorously once again. After the last witness came forward with the same information, in 2019, Laurel Mitchell's clothes and other evidence preserved from the crime scene in 1975 were resubmitted for DNA testing at the Indiana State Police Laboratory. The forensics developed a profile for a possible suspect. 3 suspects who were initially on the list of the investigators were eliminated and attention was shifted to Fred Bandy for a buccal swab. On December 5, 2022, authorities visited Fred Bandy at his residence, explaining to him the reason they were there and asking for a sample of his DNA. Surprisingly, Fred Bandy did not put up a fight. He voluntarily provided the DNA sample. Fred Bandy's buccal swab was then taken to the lab for testing, and the results showed that Fred Bandy is more likely to be the contributor of the DNA found in Laurel Jane Mitchell's clothing than any other unknown person. A search warrant on Fred Bandy's home was issued, and during the search, investigators later discovered that Fred Bandy had a 1971 Oldsmobile. In 1975, it is believed that the Oldsmobile was used by him and John Wayne Leafman to bring Mitchell to the Mallard Roost public access site in Noble County, where they forcibly removed her from the vehicle and deliberately drowned her. Additionally, information from the Indiana court database shows that Fred Bandy is a twice convicted child molester, deemed a sexually violent predator in Elkhart County. On Monday, 6th of February 2023, 47 years and 6 months after her death, the Indiana State Police and the Noble County Sheriff's Department arrested Fred Bandy and John Wayne Leafman in their respective homes and charged them with the murder of Laurel G. Mitchell. Both suspects are being held in the Noble County Jail without bond. Following the arrest of Laurel's killers, her sister, Sarah Nicely Mitchell, said, "They basically blew up my family. For a lot of years. It was rage. If I could have killed them myself, I would have. If they gave them the electric chair, I would have thrown the switch. I'm glad they are going to be punished, that they won't be able to hurt anyone else. But she's still dead." She remembered her sister and said, "She was just a good, kind, decent person. She was an awesome person. Wherever she went, she had to take me with her. That wasn't fun for her, but it was for me. She didn't deserve this. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time."